start today, I'd like you to think of a goal that you have. It could be a big goal like landing your dream job, or it could be a smaller goal like saving up to buy your next pair of AirPods. Once you have your goal in mind, I want you to think about all the people that are required in order to make that goal happen. So in landing your dream job, you've got to network with people, right? You've got to have people at the company who like you. You've got to have professors that are going to give you the education that you need. You're going to need a support system around you in order to make you the best person that you can be and to provide you with the necessary support to achieve that goal. With the AirPods, it might take the people that you work with, your manager to give you more shifts, or your grandma to send you $100 at the holidays. Each of these goals are actually called interaction goals because they require the coordination of other people in order to make them happen. So our broad definition of a goal is a future state of affairs that you wish to attain or maintain. An interaction goal is a goal that requires interaction and facilitation of other people. Whether that's turning in our assignments on time in our online classes or being a good friend, we've got a lot of different goals that we're juggling in everyday life, and this video is about how to attain those goals by influencing others and using persuasion tactics to get your goals accomplished. There are different types of influence that we can use, and some work better than others in different contexts. The first are directives. So directives are just plain and simple. It's something like pass the salt or shut the door. It's explicitly saying what you need and just saying it. The next are compliance gaining. This is where we use different strategies and tactics to get what we want. So something like pre-giving, so giving someone something before you ask for something. It could be asking for something small before you ask for something larger. The last is persuasion, and this is using logic and reasoning to get others to comply. When we influence others, there's a lot going on, maybe a lot more than meets the eye. There's more than just asking for what you need. That's called the instrumental issue. It's the main issue at hand. It's the main goal that you're working toward. Instrumental issues are attained through talk, but there are other levels of talk going on. So there's the relational issue. So who are you and who is the other person to each other? So it's different if I'm trying to influence my mom, who I have a really close relationship with, versus my boss, who I also know well, but it's a different dynamic, it's a different power dynamic there. So there's a relational level of issue that you need to take care of when you're asking for something. There's also an identity issue, which is about who I want to be in this situation, that I want to come across as competent and maybe not needy. It's also taking care of the other person's identity. So I know that my mom wants to be seen as a good mom, so I'm not going to ask her for something that's going to put her in a tough spot, like, hey, send me to Cancun for spring break. That might threaten her identity as a good mom. So in any persuasion attempt, we have to keep these three issues in mind. The instrumental issue, the main goal at hand, the relational issue, so who we are to one another, and then the identity issue, which is who I am and who the other person is. There are two types of threat that may be relevant when you're trying to persuade or influence someone. So the first type is positive face threat. This type of face is about wanting to be liked and respected. So when our positive face is threatened, someone is indicating that we're doing something wrong, they don't respect us. Our negative face is about autonomy, and autonomy means the ability to make our own choices. So anytime someone tells us what to do, our autonomy is threatened. So you can see why that might be an issue when you're trying to influence someone, trying to get them to do something for you. You're automatically threatening their negative face. And so there are things we can do in our requests that protect those face issues. So for example, you could give people choices. That gives them negative face support. Cognitive dissonance is another thing we can use to our advantage when we're trying to influence or persuade. So cognitive dissonance occurs when we have a belief or a thought or something that we really value, and then we're acting in a way that doesn't align with that. So if we go back to the good mother example, so if my mom wants to be seen as a good mother, I can point out that what she's doing isn't aligned with that identity. If what I really want her to do is something that I can align with the good mother identity. Another example would be if I really love the earth, but I'm holding onto a can and there's nowhere to recycle it. I might be experiencing some cognitive dissonance about throwing it away because I love the earth and I want to protect it for future generations, yet I'm thinking about not recycling this can. I'm probably experiencing a lot of cognitive dissonance. There are different ways we can reduce dissonance. We can deny the dissonance is even there. So like, yeah, I love the earth and I'm going to throw this can away. There's no problem here. That would be denial. Another is bolstering. So this would be rationalizing my decision. Like, well, this one can isn't going to make a big difference, so I'm going to just go ahead and throw it away. Or maybe someone will come by and pick it up and recycle it. We live in Michigan and this can is worth 10 cents. Differentiating is another way to reduce dissonance. So this would be redefining the issue so that there is no dissonance, so I can both love the earth and throw cans away somehow. Transcendence would be focusing on larger issues like, well, I have solar energy for my house, so I'm really doing a lot for the earth. This one can is not a make or break situation. Modifying attitudes is another way to reduce dissonance. So I could say, I recycle 99% of the cans that I drink from, so this one can's okay. And then communicating for social support is the last way to reduce dissonance that we're going to talk about. And this would be like, well, my sister really loves the earth and she wouldn't mind if I threw this one can away. We also know that commitment really affects what people do and why. So if we're looking to influence someone to do something, let's say I wanted my sister to run a 5K with me, I would encourage her to publicly commit to running the 5K. So like, let's put this on Facebook, let's announce it to our friends, and then we'll really want to stand by it and follow through. This works in some ways because of cognitive dissonance. So if I say I'm going to run and then I don't go do my training, I'm going to experience that dissonance, right? And I'm going to feel some sort of pressure from announcing it publicly to go do my training runs and to do the 5K. The more energy and effort we put into it as well, the more likely we're going to stay committed to it. So we do all of the training runs, we're probably going to do that 5K at the end, right? We're not going to miss out on that final piece of it. Finally, I want to chat you through these different bases of power. This tells you how other people can influence you, and if you have some of these bases of power, how you can use your power to influence others. The first one is reward power. So this is someone who can give you a reward for your behaviors, and so therefore you may be likely to do what they ask. So for example, a teacher controls your grades. Really, you control your grades, but your teacher in the end is the one doing the grading, and so that person tends to have quite a bit of reward power and can really influence your behaviors. The second type is coercive power. This is where we threaten people. It could be like an armed criminal trying to mug you. That person's really probably going to have a lot of power to get you to do what they want you to do because of their coercive power. The third type is expert power. So this is anyone that has special knowledge, like a doctor, a professor, an arborist, if you have a tree down in your yard. So whatever the situation, someone who has special knowledge and therefore you should listen to them. The third type is referent power, and this is really about people that we like. So if you've ever noticed that on Instagram or on TV, they'll have celebrities doing advertisements. That's because of referent power. So people who we like, we tend to want to do what they ask us to do. The fifth type of power is legitimate power, and this is power that we award as a society. So for example, police officers, principals at schools, these are people who are in positions of power by title. So they don't necessarily have to do anything to earn that other than get that job, and we award them power. All of these people have the opportunity to influence us, and if we have these different types of power, we can use the power to influence others. I hope you found this video useful and have some better ideas about how to achieve your goals through influence and communicating with others.